Who's actually going to get the most out of a 72 by 60-inch aluminum dock plate? And who should just keep scrolling? If you're trying to decide whether the Vestil E7260 is worth the price tag for everyday loading dock work, you're probably already weighing the risk of buying a plate that's either too heavy to maneuver or too light to hold the loads you need. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon, so you can compare the numbers side by side before you hit Add to Cart. Let's start with the scenario that most small to mid-size warehouses face. You've got a delivery truck pulling up to a concrete dock. There's a 4-inch gap, and you need a sturdy bridge so the pallet jack can glide onto the trailer without wobbling. The Vestil E7260 is built exactly for that moment. Its 3/8-inch aluminum alloy deck spans the full width of a standard dock, and the 2,500-pound rating means it can comfortably support a fully loaded pallet of drywall, lumber, or boxed electronics without sagging. Because it's aluminum, the whole unit weighs a fraction of a comparable steel plate, so a single person can lift it into place using the built-in handles, bolt the legs to the dock, and be ready for the next truck in under 5 minutes. If you run a high-throughput distribution center where trucks line up every hour and the loads routinely tip the 5,000-pound mark, this is probably not the right choice. The capacity ceiling is where the trade-off shows up. Aluminum gives you lightness and rust resistance, but it also caps the maximum load. For a facility that moves heavy equipment, bulk metal parts, or pallets stacked 3 high, a steel dock plate with a 5,000+ pound rating would be a safer bet, even if it means a crew of 2 has to wrestle it into position. Likewise, if your dock height varies a lot and you need a longer bridge to bridge larger gaps, the 72-inch length might leave you short, and you'd end up buying an extra extension or a different model altogether. What makes the Vestil stand out in real-world use is the combination of beveled edges and the bolt-on leg system. The beveled edges act like a gentle ramp for the wheels of your pallet jack, reducing the chance of a sudden jolt that can tip a load or damage the jack's tires. In the field, I've heard warehouse managers mention that this smooth transition saves them a few minutes per load because they don't have to stop and readjust the jack's angle. The legs, which screw onto the dock with zinc-plated bolts, provide a firm anchor point that prevents the plate from shifting when a forklift drives over it. In practice, that means you can keep the plate in place for the whole shift without constantly checking for movement, which is a subtle but meaningful productivity gain. On the flip side, the aluminum deck does have a softer side. If you're constantly hauling rough-side pallets, think pallets with protruding metal brackets or pallets that have been dropped on the dock, a lightweight aluminum plate can develop dents over time. Those dents won't immediately compromise the 2,500-pound capacity, but they can create little speed bumps that wear down the wheels of your jack faster than a perfectly smooth steel surface would. Another practical point is the bolt maintenance. The zinc-plated bolts are resistant to rust, but in a high-traffic dock where dust and debris get kicked up, the threads can still collect grit. A quick glance every couple of weeks to tighten any loose leg bolts is advisable, otherwise the plate could wobble under load. So, who should walk away after watching this? If you run a small to medium operation that receives regular deliveries of medium-weight pallets, need a dock plate you can lift alone, and want something that won't rust in a damp or outdoor dock environment, the Vestil E7260 checks a lot of boxes. It's especially appealing if you have limited storage space and need a plate you can stack or store on a shelf when not in use. Its lightweight nature makes that feasible. If you're on a shoestring budget, the price is higher than a basic steel plate of the same dimensions, but you're paying for the corrosion protection and the ease of handling, which translates into less labor cost over the life of the unit. If you fall into the heavy industry camp, or if you need to handle loads that regularly exceed 2,500 pounds, you'll likely find yourself reaching for a more robust steel plate, even if it means sacrificing a bit of convenience. Also, if you have a dock that's already equipped with a permanent steel bridge, you might not need this portable solution at all. Bottom line, the Vestil E7260 aluminum dock plate offers a solid middle ground for businesses that value mobility and rust resistance over raw strength. It solves the everyday problem of bridging that stubborn gap without turning loading into a 2-person lift, and its beveled edges keep your equipment humming smoothly. Just keep the load limits in mind and schedule a quick bolt tightening check once a month, and you'll get